Yo, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be going over the NBA slate on DraftKings and Yahoo for Thursday, March the 14th. We got another 6-game slate, 6 games on Thursday. I'm going to do like always, work my way through the player pool, go through each position, talk about some of the guys that stand out to me, give some of my early thoughts on this 6-game slate. And of course, I will give my 5 plays for DraftKings and 5 plays for Yahoo. These are 5 players that I like specifically for each site. Before we do get started though, guys, I would appreciate it if you would drop a like on the video. And if you are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below so that way you don't miss out on any of my new uploads. But yeah, let's go ahead and look at point guard today. So at the top of this position, we got Russell Westbrook, 10,900 in a matchup with the Pacers. This is a really tough spot for Westbrook, and this is just a tough spot for the Thunder overall. It's a back-to-back. They did play on Wednesday night, and now they're having to travel to Indiana to face the Pacers, a good defensive team, and a team that does play relatively slow. I don't really have any interest in Westbrook today. Don't really have any interest in this game in general, just not the best game to target. I think there's more appealing games on the slate, like Lakers, Raptors, Kings, Celtics you could go to. I think even some guys from Dallas, Denver are in play. Targeting guys against the Pacers just not something I want to do. Maybe targeting some Pacers players makes sense since they're going to be playing up in pace, but Westbrook's not really a guy I want to go to. I don't really like any of the expensive point guards. If I were to go to somebody, it would probably be either Kyrie or Luka Doncic. Probably Luka Doncic would be my favorite option here. 8,400 for him just feels too cheap for the upside that he has. It's not a great matchup for Luka, but I expect him to play here. I think he probably puts up anywhere close to like 45 to 55 DraftKings points. He probably scores somewhere in that range. You could definitely get a ceiling game out of Luka. I wouldn't be surprised. But I don't feel like any core plays are going to come at the top of this position for me. I think the mid-range offers some good plays. I think Jamal Murray at 6,400 is definitely a guy we could look to. I like this matchup a lot for him. I think he has a lot of upside here. Murray has shown in this matchup that he can have success. He did go off earlier this year against Dallas. He's actually done really good against them so far this year. Through 2 games against the Mavericks, he's averaged 44 DraftKings points for what that's worth. So Jamal Murray at 6,400 I think makes some sense. There are some cheaper plays I want to talk about here. Jalen Brunson's a guy that I like for cheap. He's 5,300 on DraftKings and he's $15 on Yahoo. I do like Jalen Brunson today on both sides. He's been playing really well lately and he's been seeing consistent minutes. You could argue this is not the best matchup. I would say it's probably not. But Brunson's going to play the minutes. He's been playing anywhere from 30 to 36 minutes on a nightly basis. Last 4 games, the minutes have been 36, 30, 34, and 37. He's looked really good when he's got the time. He's given about a point per minute. He looked really good in that game against the Spurs. Luka really struggled in that game, but Brunson played really well. Had 34 points. I believe that's a career high for him. I'm not sure, but 49 DraftKings points. I think Brunson probably scores anywhere from 30 to 40 DraftKings points here. He does have some upside when he gets the playing time, so going to Jalen Brunson, something I'm going to be looking to do today. I do like him a lot at 5,300 on DK. I think he is in play. And then if you need value here, there's 2 value plays I want to hit on. One of them is a wait and see. Tyus Jones, depending on the status of Jeff Teague, I think would become a really good value play. Even in a road matchup against the Jazz, Tyus Jones would probably play like 32, 33 minutes if this game is competitive. If Jeff Teague is out, Tyus Jones becomes a really good value. But since we don't have the Teague news, he's questionable right now. We're not sure if he's going to play or not. I think DJ Augustin as sort of a guy you can plug in now makes a ton of sense. If Jeff Teague is out and you want to pivot from Augustin to Jones, I think that you can obviously do that. But I do like both guys. I like DJ Augustin in this matchup. He's 4,400 on DK and he's $13 on Yahoo. He is very cheap on both sites. It's a good matchup. This Cavs team overall defensively, one of the worst teams in the league. Cavs do play at a slow pace, but this is a spot where DJ Augustin can give you 30 DraftKings points. Augustin has shown upside somewhat this year. Against the Cavs, when they played on March 30, did have 32 DraftKings points in 29 minutes. You could get a 15-point, 5-rebound, 5-assist game, kind of like you did against the Cavs when he played them last time. You could get 30 DraftKings points out of Augustin here. I know he's not the sexiest play. He doesn't have like insane upside. You're not going to get 40 DraftKings points out of DJ Augustin, but at 4,400, you really don't need him to get 40 DK points. If he gets anywhere from like 27 to 30, I would say you're definitely happy with that. Especially looking at this slate the night before, I don't see any value plays that are just going to stand out or any value plays that have high ceilings. So getting a guy like Augustin that gives you a pretty high floor, not the highest ceiling, but That high floor, I think, makes him playable. And the matchup with the Cavs, obviously, we do like as well. So 4,400 DJ Augustine, you could definitely do worse on this slate. I do like him quite a bit if you need some value at point guard. Tyus Jones, though, would probably be a better option depending on if Jeff Teague plays or not. If Jeff Teague's out, I would definitely play Tyus Jones over DJ Augustine. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on to shooting guard. I think that's it. Maybe Brandon Knight. Brandon Knight's been productive lately. His minutes have not been very high. He's been playing about mid-20s in minutes, but he is still dirt cheap. On DraftKings, he's only 3,500. I expect with Dellavedova, after this game, you probably get about 24, 25 minutes from Brandon Knight, which obviously is not great. We want him to play more than that. But again, like I said, when you're this cheap, 3,500, you don't need the guy to go out there and score 40 DraftKings points. If he gets you 25 to 30, especially on this slate, I think that could definitely be good. He's played 26, 24, and 26 minutes the last 3 games with Dellavedova out. So he probably plays about 26 minutes here. He probably scores anywhere from 20 to 30 DraftKings points. So 3,500, definitely not the worst value play on the slate. I do like him as well if you need a cheap option. But let's go ahead and move on to shooting guard now. So at shooting guard, I don't really like any of the top options. I'm not really interested in Donovan Mitchell here. 8,300 just feels like a little bit of an expensive price to pay for me when Rubio is healthy. And Buddy Hield, I don't really like that matchup with the Celtics, even though Buddy Hield's been really good lately. I'll probably look elsewhere on this slate. I mentioned Jamal Murray. I do like Jamal Murray today at 6,400 if you want to go to him. Looking at other shooting guard plays, though, other ways we could go. I don't see really any plays that stand out to me. Maybe Jaylen Brown at 4,600 if Marcus Smart is out. You would imagine Jaylen Brown picks up a few minutes, and it's a matchup with the Kings, so you could go there, but again, not the sexiest value. Shooting guard, like a lot of the guys I've talked about, I think you can play Brunson here. You can play Brandon Knight if you want to go that way, and you could play him, but that's probably it for shooting guard. Let's go ahead and move on to small forward now. So at small forward, you got LeBron, PG, and Kawhi. 3 top options here. LeBron, even on a minutes restriction, has been productive his last few games. He was really productive against the Bulls, even though he played limited minutes, just 33 minutes. 58 DraftKings points in only 28 minutes against the Celtics. 64 DK points. His price is down on DraftKings. He's down to 10,500. But with the uncertainty with his role, he's going to play anywhere from 28 to 32 minutes is what they say on a nightly basis. If the game is competitive and LeBron wants to play more, they're going to let him play. There's obviously a chance this game's close, coming down to the fourth quarter, and LeBron stays out there and plays 35, 36 minutes and gives you a big game. But it's just so uncertain. We don't really know. So I'm probably going to look elsewhere on this slate. I guess if you want to pep at small forward, you could look to Paul George. But again, like I said, I don't have a ton of interest in OKC. It just feels like a tough spot for them with the back-to-back, tough matchup, road matchup as well. Kawhi Leonard, 8,700, I don't mind, but I would rather play Luka Doncic, and Doncic is $300 cheaper. So Luka would probably be my favorite guy if you're going to pay up at small forward. I would definitely look there. But other small forwards, I do like Kyle Kuzma today. I don't think he's necessary on DraftKings. There's probably other guys you could consider, and especially with how the positions shape out, how you can play guys at different positions. You could play like Aaron Gordon, who I would rather play, but on Yahoo it's a bit different. You have to play at least one small forward, and looking at this position, I don't really see myself paying up here. So going to the mid-range, looking at a guy like Kyle Kuzma for $24, I think makes a lot of sense on Yahoo. His first game back from injury, last game against the Bulls, he did play 33 minutes, 34 minutes actually, which we love to see. He was pretty productive, 36 fantasy points in those 34 minutes. With Brandon Ingram shut down for the season, we're going to get Kyle Kuzma with a pretty high usage rate. Even playing alongside LeBron, he's going to have a lot of opportunity to get shots up with Ingram out. So I do like Kuzma here. The matchup with the Raptors, I'm not really a big fan of, but looking at this slate, the small forward position in general doesn't look like the best. Maybe you could go cheap at this position with if Andrew Wiggins is out, you could play Bates Depot at $11. KCP looked really good, but I'm not a big fan of KCP. Probably would rather play Bates Depot. I guess you could go to a guy like Jonathan Isaac, but he seems a little bit uncertain. I don't really want to pay up here, so I kind of look to Kuzma on Yahoo. But like I said, on DraftKings, with how the positions shape out, I would rather play Aaron Gordon. He's 200 more. On Yahoo, you can't play Aaron Gordon at small forward, so that's why it's a bit tougher. I like Kuzma a lot on Yahoo. On DraftKings, I think you could look elsewhere. But now other small forwards, looking at this position, if you do want to go cheap here, looking for some value plays, like I said, Jaylen Brown should pick up some more minutes if Marcus Smart is out. So you could look to him at 4,600, but that's probably it. Bates Depot would definitely be a good value at 3,500 if Andrew Wiggins sits again. But we don't know the status of Wiggins, don't know the status of Teague or Rose. They're all questionable as I'm recording this video. So let's go ahead and move on to power forward now. Talk about power forward. So I really like the mid-range here. I like a guy like Al Horford, 6,300. Al Horford in a really good matchup today against the Kings. And I love on DraftKings how you can play Horford at power forward. On Yahoo, it's a lot different. You have to play him at center, and there are so many good centers. Like at the top, you have Jokic. Marcus Gasol is probably one of the best plays on the slate, and he's at center. So it's a little bit tough to play Horford on Yahoo, but on DraftKings, where you can play him at power forward, makes him very appealing in my eyes. Love the matchup with the Kings. Great matchup. Horford was very productive the last time he faced the Kings, but Kyrie Irving was out for that game, so definitely take that with a little bit of a grain of salt. But he still had 49 DraftKings points in 31 minutes against the Kings. Like I said, great matchup. Kings have struggled all year against bigs. The Kings do play fast as well. I expect this game is competitive, and I expect we get about 30 to 32 minutes, maybe even more, out of Al Horford here. So at 6,300, you could definitely get a 35, 40-point game out of Horford. Honestly, could see him doing even better than that, just because with how good the matchup is. If you want to play a guy like Aaron Gordon for 200 more, if you feel safer with Aaron Gordon, I don't mind doing that. But I feel like Horford does offer some upside here, and he's probably going to be somewhat low owned on this slate. So, like me some Al Horford on DraftKings, where you can play him at power forward. But now other power forwards, depending on if Marvin Bagley plays or not. If Marvin Bagley is out, Nemanja Bjelica, even though it's not the best matchup against Boston, Bjelica's playing big minutes right now. He's playing about 30 minutes a night. If he gets 30 minutes here with Bagley out at 4,900, even in a tough matchup, Bjelica could definitely provide good value. So I do like him as a value play if you need to go cheap here. But I think that's it for power forward. Let's go ahead and move on to center. Talk about this position before we end the video. So at center, I do like the top here. My two favorite studs on this slate are definitely coming at center. Towns I like quite a bit, depending on if Rose, Teague, and Wiggins, what the status of those guys are. If all three guys are out, I think Karl-Anthony Towns is the guy that I want to pay for on this slate. But since we don't know the status of Teague, Rose, or Wiggins, they're all questionable right now, I'm going to look to a guy like Jokic. I do like both guys. Jokic is also in a really good spot here against a Dallas front court that just won't be able to handle him. It's such a good matchup for Jokic. Where they try to put Dwight Powell on him, Salah Mejri, I think last time these teams played, Salah Mejri got the start and tried to defend Jokic. He was pretty productive in the time that he played. He only played 30 minutes, I believe. Yeah, 30 minutes, but had 49 DraftKings points in those 30 minutes. Was two assists shy of a triple-double. Jokic was pretty productive the last time he faced the Mavericks. I expect him to be very productive here. This game is close. I think Jokic probably plays about 32 to 34 minutes. He plays big minutes when it's a competitive game. Lately, they've been in blowouts, like against the Warriors. They lost by 17. Against the Timberwolves, they won by 26. So those were both blowouts. You saw Jokic's minutes a little bit limited. If this game is competitive, obviously that is a concern because I think right now it has like a 10-point spread. There is a chance this game blows out. An 11-point spread. So there's a chance it blows out, but Jokic, if it stays close, does provide you a ton of upside here. But like I said, if Teague, Rose, and Wiggins are all out, then pivoting to Karl-Anthony Towns at 10,200, I think makes a ton of sense. Towns is just going to have to be so heavily involved. They really don't have anyone else that can shoot like Towns or that has much of an offensive game when you take all three of those guys off the floor. So I like Towns and I like Jokic quite a bit. Both guys definitely going to be studs I'm trying to pay up for today. But if I'm not looking to those two guys, then I think I'm going to the mid-range, where there is probably the easiest play on the slate, in my opinion, is Marc Gasol. 5,900 on DraftKings. On Yahoo, he's at center, and he's $19. $19 on Yahoo. I'm probably going to have Marc Gasol in all 10 of my Yahoo lineups. It's just too good of a spot. Serge Ibaka has already been suspended for this game. They've already come out and said, Eric Corrine of The Athletic says Gasol is expected to play quote-unquote heavy minutes in Serge Ibaka's suspension. So I would imagine that means Gasol's probably going to be looking at about 32 to 34 minutes. With Serge Ibaka active, even in the games Gasol has started, they've kind of split the center minutes. Gasol will play like 26, Ibaka will play 22, or Gasol will play 24, Ibaka will play 24. With no Ibaka, I expect Boucher, I think they still have Boucher, he's on the active roster. He probably plays backup center here, but they definitely don't want to give him much minutes. Boucher probably gets like all the minutes that Gasol doesn't play. Like I said, I think Gasol plays about 34 minutes. Boucher probably gets the other 14. Gasol should be looking at heavy minutes here. He's going to be productive in his time that he's on the floor. Gasol can easily give you a point per minute. $5,900, DraftKings did raise his price a bit, but I still think he's a great play. On Yahoo, I think they actually dropped his price to $19. Marc Gasol on Yahoo looks like one of the easiest plays of the day. But on DraftKings, I think he's a great play as well. Very hard to avoid Marc Gasol here. The minutes should be there with Ibaka suspended. It's a great matchup with the Lakers. Just really not much, or there really isn't much to not like for Gasol. Easily one of the best plays today. But now looking at other centers, if you're wanting to go a little bit cheaper here, I don't mind some JaVale McGee. McGee did play 32 or 33 minutes their last game against the Bulls. This isn't the best spot against the Raptors, but I imagine you're going to need McGee out there to defend Marc Gasol. I don't think the Lakers really have anyone else that could slow Gasol down. So McGee should be looking at big minutes. If he gets 30-plus minutes, he's going to be productive. He probably gives you a double-double if he plays 30-plus minutes, and probably gives you anywhere from 25 to 35 DraftKings points. So don't mind taking a shot on JaVale McGee. And with Tristan Thompson, Larry Nance both out, Ante Zizic at 4K isn't the worst value play. You could definitely go to him if you need to go cheap, but I would definitely play McGee over Zizic, especially if Zizic is going to be popular again. He was very popular on the last slate. Didn't really do that great. If people are going to look to Zizic again, then JaVale McGee for just $300 more makes a ton of sense as a pivot. But I think that's it for center, guys, and I think that is it for the video. So hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. Hopefully it did help you. If you enjoyed the video, just make sure you click that like button down below. I would appreciate it, and make sure you subscribe if you have not already. And if you do have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below, or you can hit me up on Twitter at the DFS_GOAT if you do have any questions. But yeah, guys, I think that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching. I do really appreciate it, and good luck tonight on this slate. Peace.